We are in the studio looking at Oliva, the new game from Mayfair Games. We have Ed Bryan from Mayfair Games who's going to teach Chris and I how to play Oliva. So hang on out, check it out. It's pretty cool. Sorry we couldn't get it out to you a day or two after Essen. We're a little tired. Our arms hurt from the flight.
It's going to be worth the wait.
If I were a playing card, I would want to be a playing card in Oliva. Ed, teach us how to play Oliva, please.
Awesome. I love teaching this game. So Oliva is a very quick deck building game. Each player has their own starting deck, which Sean is going to show us. A card from one of the decks there. There we go. Each of the decks are the same, and I'm going to start by talking about each of the cards and how that works. The goal of the game is to score victory points. You get victory points through victory cards in the game, as well as having flags in your deck. So if we can show the olive card, I'll start talking about the cards. The basic flow of the game is we're going to make olive oil and deliver those to markets. And the first step in making olive oil is growing olives. And that's what that growing olive card there. When you play that card, you will grow one olive, which is represented by a black cube. And you can see it on the card. It shows one little olive there. The next step of the game, of the process of making olive oil, is to press the olives into actual olive oil. And so Sean's going to show us that action, which will take two black cubes and turn them into a yellow cube, which is the olive oil. Good. Okay. So this is Oliva. It's a game about growing olives and making olive oil to sell into international markets. It's a deck builder. Each player has a set of 9 cards. They're all the same. And it goes through the process of making olive oil and selling it. So the first card we're going to talk about is the first thing you do is to grow an olive. So that's what these cards look like. I have a little olive symbol at the top, and you're going to collect one black cube, which represents olives. Once you have some olives, you're going to press it. Whoops. The next card is provision card. On the off season, farmers would grow potatoes and or grapes, and that's a way of collecting money, which is one of the other things you keep track of in the game. Once you've grown some olives, you can go to the next card, which is actually pressing your olives into olive oil. So when you play this card, you can turn 2 olives into olive oil. Once you have olive oil, you can visit markets. There's 3 different markets. You can see the yellow bottle, the can, and the green bottle. Those represent different markets you can visit to sell your olive oil. And on the main board, you can see the yellow bottle at the top represents one market with those 3 cards. So the yellow bottle has 2 Greek flags and a Turkish flag on it, whereas the can has 3 international markets: European market, an Asian market, and the US market. And the same with the green bottle. There's a US market and 2 Turkish flags there. Each of those cards represents one of those markets. And when you go to those markets, you can buy the cards from left to right at a cost of 1, 2, or 3 olive oil. And you can see that on the market card itself. It'll tell you what the cost is per slot. There you go. It has a cost there. So that first card is going to cost you 1 olive oil. Second card will cost you 2 olive oil. And the third card will cost you 3 olive oil. The second to last card is the special action market, which is that 4th column in the market row. And you'll see they have a slightly different background color. They're kind of silver as opposed to the beige. These are special actions that you can upgrade the normal action and make them better. So for this example, if you look at the second card in the row, you'll see that's an upgraded press, where you can just spend 1 black cube to get 1 olive oil instead of the 2 black cubes. In this case, this particular shuffle, we had both fancy presses show up, so 2 people potentially could have an upgraded press to press their olive oil better. The first card on that row, the first card in the market row, has a new icon, has an industry icon. So when you play this, you collect $2. but it has a separate icon from the provision icon, which is the grapes and the potatoes. Then the last card in your deck, Sean, the last card on the deck is your burn card. So when you play this, this will allow you to take any card from either your hand or your discard pile or even your player board and burn it out of the game. Unlike a lot of deck builders, when you burn a card in Oliva, it still counts for scoring. So you'll score it underneath your play mat. You take a look at the player mat at the bottom, you'll see a little burn symbol, and then you slip cards underneath your player mat, and at the end of the game, you'll get to score them, which is nice. So you can keep your deck lean and mean and still collect scoring cards as long as you're willing to spend the action to burn them. All right, so Sean's going to gather up those cards real quick, and he's going to randomly put 2 face up at the top of each of his player board, and we're going to do that same for Chris and my boards, and they're going to go face up. So at the beginning of the game, you start with 2 olives and 2 olive oil and $4. In this game, escudo is the name. It's Portuguese currency before the euro. And you have a player mat, and your player mat has a slot for 4 cards. The top 2 cards are cards that are visible and usable, and then we're going to pick 2 cards to put at the bottom. So the fun thing about this game, and what makes it unique, is when you play a card, you look to see what other cards visible have that same icon. And when you see that same icon, you can activate that card as well. So for example, right now you can see that there's 3 burn cards up. So if someone plays a burn card, then they can burn for 4 times effectively, all right? Because they can burn for the card they played, plus the 3 cards that are face up. Now there's only 1 burn card in starting decks, so no one will be able to play one. But as we get farther in the game and more people get special actions, that can happen. So a lot of the game is looking to see what cards you're going to draw and what you can match that's been played in the previous round, or what you think someone might be playing that's going before you in the game. So going last is a huge advantage because you're going to see more cards. So when we play the turn structure, what happens is the first player, who's represented by the little olive oil urn, that's the active player. The other one is the first player marker. The start player marker. He's going to go first. And then once we've all played our 2 cards, then the little can, is going to move to the next player, and they're going to go first for the next batch. And then the last player, and we're playing a 3-player game, then the last player will go first on the next batch. And that will be the end of a full round. All right, so how do you score points? So if you look at the market cards, you can see that the international markets, like on the can, those have just point values, and those are points we'll score at the end of the game. So for example, that first European card on the can market is worth 6 points. The other cards you'll see are flags. Flags are worth points depending on how many of that flag appears in the card row at the very top, what I call the flag row. You can see the game starts with 1 flag visible, which is the Greek flag. And so that means at the end of the game, currently, all the Greek flags are worth 1 point. But when you go to do a purchase at a market, you can, instead of buying the card and putting in your discard pile, you can discard the card into the flag row. So for example, if I played a yellow market card, I could take that first Greek flag and discard it to make all Greek flags worth 2 points. And it would just be added to the flag row. Well, if I do that, I get the reward at the bottom of the flag. That's a bonus. So for example, it looks like a coin. No, it's a yellow cube. So if I discarded that, I would immediately get an olive oil. So that's pretty cool. Whenever you buy something, it goes into your discard pile. It's kind of a standard rule for deck builders. That will let me burn a card if I discard it versus putting in my deck. Okay, so that's the basics. So we're gonna do it real quick. Start. So starting with Sean, I think he just randomly put out some cards. So this could be some bad decisions on players' parts here, but we'll give it a shot. So Sean, go ahead and flip over a card, and
We're going to flip over the first card played. You get my awesome hand.
so just a quick aside here. If you're playing for real, you would draw 5 cards from your deck, pick 2 of them to load up your player mat, and discard the other 3. And just like a deck builder, if you don't have enough cards in your draw deck, you shuffle your discard pile into your draw deck. Okay, so Sean flipped over a Grow Olives. So as he looks around to see if anybody else has a visible Grow Olive card, and the answer is no. So he gets to grow 1 olive. He gets to activate that 1 card and grow 1 olive. So that just means he takes a black cube, adds it to his 2 existing black cubes. So he now has 3 black cubes. All right, he's done. That's his whole action. So now we go to my player, and we're gonna flip over a card. I'm also growing olives. Well, now, as you can see, going second is helpful here because Sean's grow olive is visible. So I'm going to grow 2 olives, one for my card and one for Sean's card. And now it's Chris's go, and he's going to flip over a card. Maybe he had a grow olive. Let's see if he did.
That would be
He
amazing.
did. Well, he's a smart cookie, and so he's going to grow 3 olives, one for my card, one for Sean's card, and one for his own card. All right, so now Sean is going to flip over the second card. He's growing olives again. So now we count them all up, and he's going to get 4 olives. 2 for his own, because you count your own, 1 for mine, and 1 for Chris's. All right. And back to me. You'll see if I'm going to grow or press or what. All right. I am going to visit the 4th market, which is where you can buy special actions. All right. So now I can decide. I have 2 olive oil. Let's start with 2 olive oil. So I could buy the second or first card. And I don't think there's any matchings on that, right? There's no matching anywhere. So let's go ahead and spend 2 olive oil to buy that press. So I'm going to spend 2 olive oil.
2 money?
I'm sorry, $2. That's the 4th market. You spend dollars on to buy special actions, and I will buy that card. So that goes to my discard pile, and then that's the end of my turn. And so we now slide the 3rd card into the 2nd card slot and refill the deck, refill the market. Okay. All right, and then you'll see that Chris is going to duplicate me. So he's also going to this market, and he can do 2 actions. So he could buy 2 different things. Unfortunately, he only has 2 olive oil, right? So he can only really buy 1. You can either buy the first card or you can buy the second card.
Let's buy the second card.
All right, he also wants a fancy press. So he's going to buy a fancy press that goes in his discard pile. And again, we slide the 3rd card down and refill. Ooh, look, we got a double olive action, which is pretty cool. All right, and that is the end of the first cycle. So now we take the green wooden active player marker. Yep, and that moves to the next player. The start player marker never moves. It always stays there to remind you when a round ends. All right, and so now everybody's going to take their top 2 cards and put it in a discard. And they're going to slide their bottom 2 cards up. So those are now usable for the next round. And now they're going to draw 5 and choose 2 and discard 3. But I think for this, we're just going to, because you draw 5, discard 3. So you would immediately reshuffle your discard pile, so you could potentially get that special action back into the mix for that second round. So you're going to take 2 from the leftover, 3 more from your discards that you reshuffled into your draw deck, and then you have a hand of 5. Play the 2 and discard 3. I have my doubts.
And over here, let's see, these 2 top go to discard.
Chris, I think we're at a disadvantage here.
I believe
I
so.
got it.
I believe so.
All right. So,
Chris is all set.
and then we're going to spend 5 minutes on Sean's turn playing Optimally.
What? No.
Zach.
There was only 2 cards left, so I don't know what you're thinking. I'm just a superior player. Well, I figure this would be a great stopping point because we gave everybody a little how to play, and we gave them an example of how to run some videos. And we want to get this out quickly, but I would like to have you guys back on and do a live play. I think that would be fantastic. Sweet.
Nice.
Comes with a cool little scoring pad there. Also, there's a solo Oliva deck. That's the red background. And if you get really deep into it, there's also alternate starting positions. So not everybody starts with $4, 2 olive oil, and 2 olives, but a different combination of the mix. So it is a fantastic game. The amount of thinking you do on deciding what actions you're going to do versus what's out there, which may potentially be out there. What place am I going? Am I going last? Am I going first, or somewhere in between? It's really tense, and I find it very satisfying.
Nice. I am glad we get to do this thing. We get to bring this over to the U.S. I really, really like the guys, David at Pythagoras and Rolla and Costa, his designers that have helped out for these on many years. This is another great Rolla and Costa design. I'm a huge fan of these guys. They are just outstanding game designers. Had the fortunate luck to meet them both in Essen a few times, and just I couldn't be any happier or more excited to show this one off.
Yeah, Rolla and Costa are great. Cafe Game, Lotta are both fantastic games in this series. I will play any 3 of these at a drop of a hat. So you can just find me and say, I want to play Oliva. I will sit down and play Oliva.
That was my hat drop.
Nice.
Because I too would play Oliva in the drop of a hat. This was super mega fun. And we're going to drop off here because this is fun. We don't get to do this a lot, but post Essen's always a good time. We've got Sharon Goza waiting in the lobby to play 4 Years to Mars. So I've got to let you go because it's the biggest gaming holiday of the year, you guys, and we got to talk to all these gamers.
Real quick, when is this going to drop?
Well, all of it debuted at Essen just this past weekend, and it's on the boat, right? Heading to Mayfair Games as we speak. Is that right, Ed?
That is correct. It is heading our way. Hopefully we'll have it before the end of the year, and I'm super excited.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to it.
Well, this will be a good one. Thanks for popping on here and hanging with us and working through our overhead cameras and technical difficulties and our action cam. And oh my gosh, so many cords, you guys, in the studio today. Holy smokes, you wouldn't even believe what is happening right here. But all good fun. Thank you, Edward, for coming by. As always, my friend. Thanks for Chris for hanging out, and stick around and let's check out Sharon's stuff.